Welcome everyone to another episode of Between the Notes. If you've been watching the weekly series, this is where I talk about my compositions, arrangements, people with whom I've worked, nightmares of composing music and so forth. Well, that's probably in a future episode. But anyway, I've had a really great time doing this. Hopefully you've been finding it interesting. I also discovered, somebody told me, look, Kurt, you went a little long on the last episode. It was over 15 minutes. People don't have that long of an attention span. So I'll try to be a little briefer, hopefully just as interesting. So today I am not standing in front of my keyboard. I'm kind of standing in front of my wall of shame. Every composer, if you've been in the business a long time, you're going to have one of these things where you've got trophies and different things. My wife won't let me display these any other place, nor would I really want to, except down in my dungeon here. So, but there is one, I wouldn't call it a trophy, but a memento that I'm very, very proud of. And it is the topic of today's episode. I'm going to step aside here and point to this. This is a piece of artwork, the entire thing, the picture and the frame, that was a collaboration with a good friend of mine who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. I'm talking about James C. Christensen. I'll never forget, I was familiar with his work. We'd never done anything together. I mean, he obviously lives in the world of fantasy art and all the different things he did that was apart from what I did. I didn't know this at the time, but he was a musician. Never made a living at it, but was pretty accomplished at recorder and clarinet and a few things, and really an appreciator of music. He always told me that whenever he painted, he had music playing. Well, anyway, he painted this painting. It's called Evening Angels. And he had this idea to collaborate with a composer. And I was really honored that he would call me and say, Kurt, I want you to write music about or with or inspired by this painting. Well, that sounds really cool. If you're going to write like a 5-minute piece, you go, yeah, that'd be cool. I could do that. And he said, I want a whole album based on this. I like it, but I thought, how could I do a whole album about a piece of artwork? And he helped me to think of a few things. So we sat down and he said, let me introduce you to all the angels in this painting. First of all, and I won't remember the names right now, but I'll look them up so I can speak more intelligently about it. First of all, we have this lovely lady right here with the silver hair playing the tambourine. Then we have an angel here playing recorder, one playing harp, kind of like a folk harp, no pedals, just a small little, like a troubadour type, or even smaller folk harp. And then over here we have this dark, sultry angel here playing a lute. And I said, well, that's cool. So now we have different instruments. That will at least tell me the palette of the album, that these are going to be my soloists. And it's kind of the perfect thing. You've got percussion, you've got a melody instrument, you got harmony, and another kind of harmonic melody sort of instrument. I said, I could do an album based on that kind of orchestration. And then he told me the story of the angels. And when you go to like Spotify or wherever you get your free music, and take a listen to it. Try to listen in order of the album if you can. In most places like Spotify, they list it in order. Then you can follow along the story, because Jim and I envisioned the story. Now, he told me that these angels, their job was to paint the day to night. So as they would travel around the globe, they would basically paint the sunsets. Then I said, imagine if they're traveling all around the globe, they're probably looking down and seeing different things that are happening. I said, so we could have a song that could be Celtic based as they fly over Celtic lands. It could be, if they go over Africa, we could do something with more of an African groove. Now the album was starting to take shape. And I came up with the idea, along with James. I don't even know who came up with the ideas. To be honest, that's the best thing about a collaboration, is a good idea doesn't care who it comes from. Anyway, we envisioned that these angels would fly over places where there were wars or famine, and they would cry. And that paint, for me, that right there painted a song. So on this album, and I just happen to have one here, still in its hermetically sealed case. You guys remember this? This when CDs were. Anyway, the album actually has about 15 tracks. You'll hear songs, and the songs kind of go in an order. Where at the very beginning you hear this. It starts with a prologue, and then you hear the call as the angels are being called to be a part of this journey. And then there's a song called "The Journey Begins." Then it goes into as they fly over Africa. There's a tune called "Africana." When I did this album, little did I know that someday I would actually marry a lady from Africa, and that the whole continent of Africa would mean something to me. So now I listen to that song with a little different ears. Then it goes through between every couple of songs. Each of these instruments gets a feature. Now here's a little known note about the album is James, who is a pretty good recorder player, actually gets to play second recorder on some of these tunes. I actually use Darren Bradford, who is a primo professional recorder and multi-instrumentalist. He actually played the solos, but James is playing behind the scenes. This was in the days before FaceTime Live and Instagram, so I don't really have any video of it, but trust me, it made the album recording really special to have him do that. Well, I won't go through all the tracks. Just I'm going to play for you now just snippets of the various tracks. I'll just do a little montage and watch your screen for the name of the music. But the story behind Evening Angels is a very special one because James Christensen, my good friend, asked me to do it. Here's an aside. On the song "The Journey Begins," and I came up with some Latin lyrics. Veni veni gaudeamus faciter tutum superum. And what that means for you non-Latin speakers is, oh come, let's safeguard the heavenly road. Jim loved those lyrics so much that he actually, when he created the commemorative frame, he actually used those. I don't know if you can see those, but there's Veni veni gaudeamus faciter tutum superum. And when he presented this to me to thank me for being a part of it, he pointed to that and said, "You notice what I put?" And it meant a lot to me that it was kind of the perfect end to this really wonderful collaboration. We haven't had a chance to perform this. We performed it once on a Brabanel Hall stage with an orchestra, with James narrating some of the stories, which you can find inside this CD, and yours truly conducting the orchestra. It's one of the only albums that I've ever done. Certainly, I think I've done two, but this is the only one that's not a soundtrack that has no piano on it. I did nothing but write the music, conduct it, and now it's in a CD. So I think I still went long, but hopefully that was a little more to your attention and tastes. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been Behind the Music. We'll see you next week, where I'll tell another tale behind the tune. Enjoy now bits of Evening Angels.